One of the most popular activities at the Grand Canyon is the mule ride. Visitors have been riding mules since John Hance first introduced them in 1887. He realized that the arduous task of hiking the canyon was too strenuous for most visitors. He felt that riding a mule was a lot more comfortable than a horse or a burro. In 1891, French-Canadian Louis Bouchette, pictured here on his legendary mule Silver Bell, claimed some land beneath the South Rim and soon started guiding mule trips down to his tent camp on the Tonto Plateau. The remains of his old camp can still be seen today. Bouchette, a gentle and kind soul, lived alone in the canyon for years. He became known as the Hermit, for whom Hermit's Rest and Hermit's Trail are named. Today, along with the 250 mules in service at the Grand Canyon, are the colorful mule drivers, who share the legacy of pioneers like Louis Bouchette. For years, Ross and Patty Knox have been training the pack mules that safely carry visitors and supplies down the rugged trails to Phantom Ranch. While carrying on their job, they keep alive the tradition of cowboy poetry and folk music. James Ohio Patty was the first American to record a visit to the Grand Canyon in 1826. It took almost 100 years to become a national park. Many people played a role in the long struggle to make this area a national park. The Kolb brothers certainly had an impact when photographs and motion pictures of their river trip through the canyon were shown throughout the East. After the first national parks like Yellowstone and Yosemite were established in the late 1800s, it took a long time for more to be added. More than 35 years of effort went into the struggle to actually create a national park in this area. In the late 1800s, Senator Benjamin Harrison played an important role in this process. He had visited the area and was very taken with the idea of protecting the region as a national park. As a senator, he started introducing legislation, but it was the height of the Gilded Age and the Industrial Revolution, and each time the bill failed. Later, President Harrison was the first to make a step in actually preserving the area by creating a forest reserve. By using the powers of the presidency as far as he could, he was able to preserve a part, but not the full scope, of the Grand Canyon. The legislative efforts to protect the area continued during the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt. An avid outdoorsman, Roosevelt was enamored of the canyon from his first visit. He took the process one step further by creating a game preserve. Then later, in 1906, he used new legislation covering national antiquities to create the Grand Canyon National Monument. Nevertheless, the area was still open to the incursions of big miners and profiteers. Despite international recognition that the region was utterly unique, it still took many years for it to become a national park. The Chamber of Commerce, the state of Arizona, and countless citizens took on the project of pushing through the legislation to create the park. Finally, in 1919, the aftermath of the First World War, President Wilson signed an act of Congress that created Grand Canyon National Park and preserved its unique treasures for generations to come. With 5 million visitors coming to the canyon each year, most of them driving their own vehicles, the canyon has been exposed to a series of environmental impacts. The Navajo power plant near Lake Powell and an air corridor above the canyon also contribute to the air pollution at the park. The Park Service, using natural indicators, monitors other types of pollution. What park rangers have found is that here on the southern rim, biologically, they are not seeing too many ill effects. Lichens, the little plant crusts that grow on the rocks, tend to accumulate toxins out of the air. They have analyzed these, and the canyon is still in good shape. From the standpoint of the geology, most of the rocks, especially here at the rim, are limestone, and consequently, they react with acid rain. A lot of acid rain would etch these rocks. By monitoring the rocks, the rangers can tell that the rain here is only a little bit more acidic than expected under normal conditions. One of the major concerns here is visibility. After all, a visitor wouldn't want to come to the Grand Canyon and look out at a layer of smog. You want to be able to gaze out at the colors and textures and landforms that make up the canyon. So, the Park Service carefully monitors visibility in the canyon, what hazes are in the air, and whether they are man-made or natural hazes. A laser is used to emit a beam of intense light. This, in turn, can measure the air clarity when it is received at Phantom Ranch. Scientists can record how visibility is changing as a result of air pollution from the west, or, if the winds are blowing from the other direction, from as far away as Texas. The clarity of the air also gives us an indication of how far away visitors will be able to see the colors and the textures that really make the canyon so special. One of the reasons that the Grand Canyon is considered the eighth wonder of the world is its incredible beauty and majesty. The Grand Canyon is one of nature's finest creations, a vision of dizzying proportions. A time capsule of history cut sharply into striped and staggered walls. Fossils and sediment are rich with information about the past. Visitors are boggled by a river that runs so deep for so long, and fascinated by the stories of the people who have called it home. The Grand Canyon bestows upon its guests a new respect for nature, the greatest force on earth.